Men's soccer dismantles a top 10 opponent. Volleyball picks up a key road sweep, and we sit down with the reigning WCC Goalkeeper of the Year. Portside of the Pilots is coming up now. Another weekly edition of Portside of the Pilots. I'm your host, Adam Lindman. It's hard to believe that basketball practice has officially begun, but both the men's and women's teams took the court earlier this week as they started preparations for the 2017-18 season. Second-year head coach Terry Porter welcomes the number 10 ranked recruiting class in the nation, and with 9 newcomers on the roster, Porter addressed the team on Sunday night and set the expectations for the upcoming year.
Welcome officially to season 2017-18. I think when you look at the talent in this locker room, we got a lot of new faces, but all the other intangibles are there. Our culture's got to be about getting after it, building off hard work, playing with great energy at both ends, supporting each other. Those are the type of things collectively that we have to make sure we bring every day on the practice floor and into the games, that we make sure that we have in order to have success.
Women's basketball head coach Cheryl Sorensen returns 3 of the team's top scorers from a year ago, and the Pilots welcomed 7 newcomers to the roster during the offseason. Sorensen will rely on her experienced players to help take the program to the next level this year.
You're going to see a core of 4 or 5 of our returners that have really taken their game to the next level. And that's obvious from day 1 of practice. It was obvious from this summer of them getting better. And when we play Hawaii on November 10th, it'll be pretty obvious of everybody moving the meter ahead.
Having 2 seasons under my belt already, I feel like I was made for this leadership position, and I'm excited. I know that I have the respect of all my teammates, and I know we're all working towards the same goal, so it'll be really cool to be able to lead this year.
As part of the Women's Basketball Coaches Association Day of Service initiative, the Pilot women's hoops team visited Hoyt Arboretum last week to volunteer and help with the cleanup projects. Portland was one of nearly 200 programs nationwide to take part in the Day of Service, and the Pilots were able to both bond as a team and help the community as a result of the project.
We all had the opportunity to go to the Arboretum in Portland and to help do some landscaping and cleanup for the city. It was a really cool opportunity to work with my teammates and to work with the coaches, just to be able to serve our community, and we all learned from it and grew in different ways, I think.
WBCA Day of Service. It's a day of giving back into the community in any way that you can. It was neat to see everybody just get involved, put in some hard work, and come together as a team.
The Portland men's soccer team had a challenging weekend as they faced 2 top 10 opponents on opposite coasts during a 3-day period. First, the Pilots hosted number 9 and previously unbeaten Western Michigan on Friday night at Merlo Field. Portland dominated the Broncos from the opening kickoff, cruising to a 4-1 win behind a pair of goals from Benji Michel. Senior Matthew Coffey returned to the lineup from injury and also scored for the Pilots. Portland then traveled to number 10 Virginia for a Monday night showdown against the perennial national power Cavaliers. UP grabbed the early 1-0 lead off a beautiful set-piece goal tapped in by Coffey, but the Cavaliers would respond to force overtime with a second-half goal and then pulled out the victory in the first extra period. Following the weekend, sophomore striker Benji Michel earned his 2nd West Coast Conference Player of the Week honor of the season. Michel scored twice during Portland's win over number 9 Western Michigan last Friday. Michel leads the league and is tied for 5th nationally with 8 goals scored on the year. The Portland volleyball team continued its run of solid play with the road sweep of San Francisco and Santa Clara. Senior Hannah Troutman had a huge match with a career high of 28 kills while adding 25 digs as the Pilots pulled off a come-from-behind win by scoring the final 4 points in the 5th set at San Francisco. It was similar drama at Santa Clara on Saturday as the Pilots were down to their final point in the 4th set, but again recorded 4 straight points to win 26-24 and force a 5th set. Portland then rolled to a 15-8 victory in that final set to improve to 3-1 in league play, with 3 of those matches going the distance.
Some sets we played in this weekend were not our best. There's a lot of things that we need to improve on and work on, but it's just something that we can learn from. I don't think there is any doubt. It's more of we know we can play better. If we're down a set, we know that there's a lot of things we can improve on, and there's things we can just keep working at. And we bring it back to like a steady mind saying like, hey, we need to execute and focus on first contacts. There's a lot of things we still need to work on, but we're still grinding in practice where we're going to keep getting better each week. And hopefully the outcome shows how hard we're working in practice.
The Portland men's and women's cross-country teams competed in multiple events last weekend. The men's team sent a group of runners to both the Bill Dellinger Invitational and Willamette Invitational. The Pilots won the Willamette Invite in dominating fashion, with 4 runners finishing in the top 15. The women's varsity team performed well at the Bill Dellinger Invitational as the team finished 5th overall. Freshman Yasmine Lau and junior Taryn Rollins both had top 10 individual finishes. Coming up next, we'll talk with men's soccer senior goalkeeper Paul Christensen, a 4-year starter and the reigning WCC Goalkeeper of the Year. You're watching Portside with the Pilots on NBC Sports Northwest. Welcome back. We're joined now by the West Coast Conference reigning Goalkeeper of the Year, senior Paul Christensen. Paul, thanks for joining us this evening. You guys just got back from a long road trip to number 10 Virginia. You just beat number 9 Western Michigan Friday night. It's been a challenging couple of days for you guys, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been. I think with the travel, it really can take it out of you, but it was good to get a result on Friday night against Western Michigan, who was undefeated at the time. And then I think to go out to Virginia, and we really held our own on the road. And it's not an easy trip going all the way across time zones like that. So I think we really showed ourselves well, and we're ready for the start of conference.
Yeah, so that wraps up the non-conference portion of your guys' schedule. Pacific this weekend. Pacific a year ago made it to the second round of the NCAA playoffs. What are you expecting Saturday night?
I mean, they're a really good team. They're a solid team. They have a lot of different attacking options. They're very good defensively. They've beat a couple of really good teams this year, so we know we're not going to underestimate them at all. I mean, they were picked to win the conference, so it's definitely not something we're going to take lightly, and we're going to go and try to give them our best game, and we know that we're going to have a lot of student support, so we're looking forward to the game.
It's got to be nice to be playing at home, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nowhere like home.
And so they're the 18th ranked team in the country. What do you think it's going to take to get the win against them?
I think it's going to be similar to the way we've played all of our other games, just really staying together as a team. We've played ranked teams. It's not like we haven't. The coach has done a very good job of getting us prepared for the conference, which is what it's all about for us. And so I think just really focusing on defending hard and then getting forward and really helping the attacking guys. Hopefully we'll get goals, and I mean, we always do. So
you're a senior, 4-year starter. You've obviously been through a lot during your career here. What was last season like on your guys' title run?
I mean, that was pretty incredible. So it started out non-conference. We started winning more games than we did my first 2 years, so that was exciting. And then when we got to conference, we started out the conference, I think 5-0, which is something we haven't done for a long while as a team. And so I think that there was a belief to what we were doing, and it was an incredible feeling, and I think it's going to be one that's hard to replicate because it'll just be a little bit different this year. But I think it's definitely something we can do again this year because we still have a good core of guys that are ready to make a run.
And so second-year head coach Nick Carlin-Voigt obviously has this program headed in the right direction, bringing in top recruits. You know, you guys are going to the playoffs. What is the ultimate goal for the Pilots?
I mean, we'd like to win a national championship. I'd like to win a national championship. This is my last year, obviously, so I have one more chance to do it. But I think it's, for me and the rest of the seniors, just taking it one game at a time and just focusing on the next opponent and treating each game like it's a national championship game. So right now our national championship is Pacific.
And you guys have played a challenging schedule so far. How do you think that will benefit you guys going forward?
I think we're prepared and we're not going to back down from anyone. You know, sometimes if you play a bunch of non-ranked teams or teams that you run over, you're not sure how to face adversity. But we've faced adversity. We've been down in games. We've been up in games. We've played ranked opponents, and we've done well against them. So I think we're prepared mentally and physically, and we'll be ready to go.
All right, so I hear you're a twin, correct?
Correct.
And your brother is a wrestler at Wisconsin?
Yes, he is.
There had to be some epic battles between you guys growing up, right?
There definitely was. I mean, I wrestled a little bit growing up. I wrestled until high school, and so we definitely both actually at home were probably some more of the epic battles that were unseen by anyone else, but we also did have some that were in either the soccer field or on the wrestling mat.
That was my next question. You said you wrestled. Can he play soccer?
Actually, he did play soccer growing up, and then senior year of high school, I couldn't play for the high school team, so I actually coached him, and he played goalie for our high school team, so that was a pretty fun experience for us.
Could anyone tell that it wasn't you?
Actually, by the end of it, he got pretty good. He's pretty athletic, so he was able to do pretty well. So by the end of it, I mean, at the start, people were kind of like, there's a difference. But after a while, you could see that he had some potential.
Very nice. All right, time for some fun, some rapid fire questions.
All right.
Funniest teammate?
Funniest teammate? I think Matt Bellorier.
All right. Teammate that thinks they're the funniest?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think a lot of the guys think they're the funniest. I would say, I'm sorry, but Ray Ortiz.
Smartest teammate?
Smartest? Oh, that would have been the easy question last year because we had Jeff Dunn. This year? Oh, I don't know.
Wow.
we have a decent amount of smart guys this year, but last year it was for sure Jeff because he was.
We'll go with that.
A monkey doctor.
I think I know the answer to this one. Best dressed teammate?
Best dressed? Well, I'm not going to say the usual suspects.
Edwardson?
Yeah, because Eric would like me to shout him out, and I'm not going to do that. But I would say, I think Brennan Weber he's underestimated by people, but he dresses very well.
I like it. Finally, you're lost in the wilderness trying to survive. Which teammate do you want with you and why?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take Keenan with me because A, we're best friends and we're both goalkeepers. And I know he's willing to pull his own weight. I don't really want to have to take someone that's not going to help me. And we're trying to get out of there fast. So I think Keenan would be the best option to get out of there.
Solid answer. Finally, graduation just around the corner. What are your future plans?
I'd like to keep playing soccer. I'm not sure where I'm going to do it yet, but that's kind of just something for a little bit after the season. So right now I'm focused on here and now, and wherever that takes me is where it takes me. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Very nice. Paul Christensen, thanks for joining us. Good luck against Pacific.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we check in with Brent Knutson of the UP track and field team and his role in helping students transition to college. You're watching Portside with the Pilots. The transition from high school to college can be overwhelming. The University of Portland has put in place a variety of strategies to ease that process for incoming freshmen through the Shepherd Academic Resource Center. One program is the First Year Freshman Workshop, which puts upper-class students in a teaching role. Senior track and field student athlete Brent Knutson is one of those students who has stepped up and serves as a workshop leader, sharing his experiences to help others be better prepared.
This is called a blob tree, and there's all these different little blobs of people doing various things, right? So you're gonna pick one of these blob people, and then you're gonna give us a short description of why that describes you right now. Does that make sense? I could give an example. I'm having an awesome week, so I'm dancing on a platform because I don't have any tests. Does that make sense? My freshman year as a student athlete, it's kind of hard to make friends outside of the team, and the freshman workshop served as a really good catalyst for me to do that. I really liked how I was able to make a lot of friends there, so I decided to become a workshop leader.
The first year workshop is critical for the development of our first year students. Without this program, I feel that students would really miss out on great opportunities of learning. Brent is a senior workshop leader and he is phenomenal. He brings a lot of charisma to our workshop leader team of 41 students, and he really is a strong leader. He helps run our meetings that happen once a week, and he provides really excellent feedback.
Have them close their eyes and give a thumb scale, because then you can get like a vibe for the room, like, oh, they all failed, like, let's really hit this home. But it's like if they all like ace their first test and they're killing it, then like, you know, you can kind of like gauge what you're gonna say based off of that. The first question is, how many of you have taken a test? Thumb up, down. Okay, good.
It's a great resource for our first year students to make new friends, gain study groups, learn and promote skills that will help them academically, and really transition to the University of Portland.
one of our lessons where we were trading phone numbers and Instagram handles, so we're just doing whatever we can to break down the barriers to make friends. This is a really powerful experience where people can get to know a lot of other people.
We teach them study skills, we teach them about registration. We also go into transportation lessons where we kind of show them around the city and do a TriMet lesson.
Another thing that Brent has done for our workshop program this year is rework a lesson plan covering how to deal with stress in college and the struggles that students may face and how to actually cope through those. And so he took the lead on that lesson plan, and he really made a huge impact on how that lesson is run for our workshop leaders, and that's going to impact every freshman that's here on campus.
So if you think of all your tests, right, or your GPA is like a fraction, you know what I'm saying? I didn't do that well in Bio 207, right? So that's a -1. 127 out of 128, that's still an A, right? There's an adjustment period moving from your freshman year to your senior year. So like if you're not killing it right now, that's totally okay.
It's really just about going through the different stages that students go through as a freshman. It's like first it's all about making friends, and then it's kind of like, wow, I'm sick and homesick or tired or my grades are suffering, going into that, and then usually ending with the registration lesson towards the end where they learn to sign up for classes and move on into the next semester of their college career.
I like to be the special workshop leader that gives them the inside info, so I'll tell them, you know, my favorite professors and the ways I navigated class schedules with athletics and being able to balance things. The next thing we're gonna do is go over degree works. This might seem stressful, right? So like it's gonna show all the classes you're gonna need to take to fulfill your degree while you're here. So like, holy cow, look at all this stuff we still have to get done, right? This is just the major in biology. It's like, oh, that's cool, we're in 2 of the like 20, right? So this is a good way to like outline your life, right? And like know what's coming. So like when you're making your schedule, which we'll get into later, you're gonna use this as a tool a lot. When I break it down and give them my personal opinions and like my personal stories of like why I think this is relevant, and I kind of bring myself to the table, then they realize the importance of the workshop. Have you guys heard like dress well, test well too? Some people do that. I don't know, I don't believe in that, but some people are like, they'll like show up in like a suit, and I'm like, all right, that's a little much. But yeah, I would dress comfortable. I give all the students my cell phone number, and I tell them, you know, if they need something, they can text me, right? So there's a lot of times where it's 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, and they're like, how do I do this chemistry lab? And I text them, you know, I'm like, this is how you scan up your lab, or things like that.
These student leaders are the sole instructors in the classroom, so I think they really do play a big part in the teaching and learning aspect of the University of Portland's mission.
Teaching workshop has taught me to really embrace like the university's motto of like teaching and learning. So I'm not only learning in my classes, but I'm also teaching what I've learned to other people, be it through workshop, but I also meet with these students when it comes to other classes, so I'm able to teach my knowledge that I've learned in other biology classes and really cement my own knowledge by sharing with others. In order to be able to get an A on a test, you have to be able to not only know the information, but be able to like teach the information. So having a group of people, like even if no one in your group knows stuff and you know everything, it's not a waste of your time to teach other people the info, because then it'll just like validate what you know even more. Rob is super excited to have student athletes and runners specifically getting involved in other things on campus. He understands our other commitments and totally supports us both academically and with the other things we're involved in. If you're like only getting a 3.4 but my friend's getting a 3.9, it doesn't mean you're like, you know, like way less of a person or something than them. It just means like you're in a different major, it's totally different, so like it doesn't compare. They're gonna remember how they felt when they're in workshop, and I want them to feel included, like they're really making friends and getting to know each other. This is cohorted with their intro philosophy class, so they see these people multiple times a week, and it really just like, they're never gonna have any fears of when they're around campus, because they're always gonna be seeing people they know from workshop. If you have any questions, always feel free to text me. Other than that, you're free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Terry Porter, head man basketball coach at the University of Portland. You're watching Portside with the Pilots.
Portland and Santa Clara women's soccer have one of the biggest rivalries in the sport. The Broncos won the 2001 NCAA title, and then the Pilots defeated Santa Clara for their first title a year later. Portland added a second NCAA championship in 2005. Looking at a tale of the tape between these two storied programs, you can see a combined 18 NCAA semifinal appearances 86 All-Americans and 18 national team members. The teams will meet this Friday at 7 p.m. at Merlo Field, and the matchup will be televised live right here on NBC Sports Northwest. The men's soccer team has a new conference rival as Upstart Pacific handed the Pilots their lone loss in league play last season. Portland will look to avenge that loss and get the WCC schedule off to a strong start when the Tigers visit on Saturday night for a 7 p.m. kickoff at Merlo Field. That game will also be televised live right here on NBC Sports Northwest, and the Pilots know that the contest will have big postseason implications.
Yeah, I mean, they beat us last year in Stockton 1-0, and it was a very close game. And I think the difference this year could be the fact that we're playing at home and we have the best fans in the country behind us. And I think that's something we look forward to every time we get to play here. And it's even more exciting that they're a ranked team and a WCC opponent.
The Louisiana Pacific Tennis Center got a bit of work done over the summer as the court resurfacing provided a fresh look to the facility. Coupled with a new video playback teaching system, the tennis center has provided a significant home court edge for both teams.
It's amazing. The color is exactly what we want. The surface is slower, so they have the ability to have longer points and to build the points. So that's really important early on in the season. And it's awesome that we have the opportunity and the resources to be able to keep our courts at a high standard.
The Pilot volleyball team returns home this week to host LMU on Thursday night at 7 and then Pepperdine on Saturday at 1. The Pilots are 12-4 overall, 3-1 in the WCC, and are eyeing the program's first ever postseason appearance with a strong finish. Remember to send us any questions, requests for content, or just give us some feedback on the show on social media by using the hashtag Portside. And that will do it for this episode of Portside of the Pilots. We'll see you next week.